Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Blue Maxima and I'm here checking out Oddworld, Abe's Oddysee, New and Tasty, or Oddworld, New and Tasty, or whatever the bloody hell they want to call the damn thing. So, I've been playing this game for about an hour and 45 minutes. Previously when I tried to record this, it said 42 minutes. I don't have any idea what the hell it was going for there, but whatever. Also, as you can see there, best time 0118, so about an hour in or so. And even though it says rescue status 20%, I've seen like 33% of the Modicans die, so I'm about a third of the way through the game, more or less. Admittedly, I'm just going to play through the first level, because the first level is probably not only one of my favourite intro sequences of all time, so I want to show off how they butchered the damn thing. I also want to... It is actually, like, the best place in the entire game to demonstrate how it all works. So, we're just going to go through and play the first chapter, but just real quickly, how we usually do this... We'll go into, like, the extras and the settings menu. We do have a movie player, and I'm going to use this to demonstrate... one of the cutscenes, because I must admit, I do like some of these cutscenes. So if we just play the Abe's Moon cutscene, because why not, right?
I had just got past.
I really do like the cutscenes.
When the strangest thing I saw, a big moon was before me, and its face was my paw. Then I fell down a cliff. And smashed my head. When some big face appeared and said I was dead. Said our land was changing, was imbalanced at best. He told me my fate was to rescue the rest. For paramites and scraps had been sacred once. That was before Rupture Farms turned them into lunch.
That's enough of that. So we'll skip the rest of this movie just to not sit around and watch it for too long. To be fair, it's not much longer than that. But anyway, what we're going to do is settings, first off. Controls, can't rebind them, and there's a weird co-op mode, which I haven't even bothered to try, so I'm not going to. You can see all your controls here, and unfortunately there's no way to change them, but they're pretty good as is, so it's not that big of a deal. And you can also turn off the button to run and the sideways hop, but both of these are actually very useful, so I would not recommend turning them off in the slightest. So as I said before, we're going to go back to Rupture Farms, which is the first chapter, because I absolutely love the Rupture Farms section of the original Oddworld. So, yeah, we're just going to head straight back there, and we're just going to play through Rupture Farms, because I want to play through Rupture Farms. Odd thing is that you actually have 4 different rear touchpad spots that you can activate here, and not only does this have the weird thing of showing off the rear touchpad functionality in a way that's actually kind of cool, it's also completely and arbitrarily useless. Nevertheless, I will skip this movie. And here we go. This is basically the very start of the game, so it's not like it matters, but... oh well. First thing I want to point out is that the game looks pretty good, and for the technical fidelity and the graphical fidelity, for that part of the argument, it's actually pretty damn good for the Vita. Everything looks really nice, and despite the fact that the video might look a bit jaggedy, the actual game looks a hell of a lot better because it's on a smaller screen, so... there's practically no jaggies here. So the game is a cinematic platformer from the 90s, because it is a remake of a game known as Oddworld, Abe's Oddysee. And the idea is that it's supposed to be... oh, mines. The idea is it's supposed to be a faithful remake, or at least I hope it's supposed to be a faithful remake, of the game. And the idea is you have some very stiff controls, and there's not much else you can do other than throw things and try and jump and grab on ledges and stuff like that. So the game itself is actually relatively hard, but at the same time this new version actually has a bunch of stuff that really helps with that. So there's... bye. There's a bunch of stuff they've added to this new version. Like, for example, I'll explain what the actual game is once I get around to that, but for those of you who've played Oddworld, Abe's Oddysee before, there are a few things they've added. For example, those checkpoints. You can also hit select, and the game will freeze for a moment, and it'll quick save. And if I just go through this door, I can demonstrate if I hold select the game's quick load feature. So you can quick save and quick load in the middle of any puzzle, which is actually really useful. There's also these directories that show up inside Rupture Farms segments. Not inside the, like, actual segments, which is kind of annoying, but, yeah. So this actually shows you where most of the Medokins are hidden, or at least some of them are. And unfortunately, that text in the bottom left there, can't read it. It's completely unreadable. Like, you can see, like, Zulag 1 and Rupture Farms, because I've blown this up to 1080p, but on the Vita screen, can't read this shit. Oh well, but yeah, that does show you where some of the Medokins are, but it doesn't show you the hidden ones, which is kind of annoying, because the hidden ones are stupid hard to find at times. Like, ridiculously hard, but... Did not mean to do that. And I'm all the way back here. I probably should have quick saved. Because that's what happens. But yeah, the game's a cinematic platformer, so all your movements matter. And the original Abe's Oddysee had a little bit of a problem with its controls just being like relatively heavy and unpleasant to use. Admittedly, New and Tasty does this a lot better. Your controls are very precise, and you will never run into a problem where the game doesn't do what you told it to do. So, it actually works pretty damn well. Why the hell am I not chanting into this guy? You have a bunch of other different moves you can use as well. Like this chant here lets you possess enemies and read things like information in the backgrounds of the environment. It's pretty neat. There are also speech patterns you can do. And some of them are required for segments of the game where you have to, like, lead around Medokins and try and rescue them. Because the idea is you are Abe, you are a Medokin, and you have friends here, and these friends need to be rescued. So, if we tell this guy, hello, we can even tell him to follow us. Preferably not to his death. Also, that's a... Oh my god, that's a dark bug right there. Jesus fucking Christ. But yeah, that was dark. I think I got a better way to handle that other sling, though. But yeah, you can also use, like, that speaking stuff to mimic other Medokins later on in the game. But yeah. The game itself is... The game's controls are fine, because they've tweaked the controls for the Vita, apparently, and most of them work pretty damn well, so I don't really have that big of a deal. A big of a problem, I should say, with this, because it works perfectly fine. What I'm not that big of a fan of is the game's new graphical overhaul, because the original Rupture Farms, as I remember it... Oh yeah, this is how you rescue him, by the way. If you do that chant again while you're in front of these, it's a portal. They'll escape through it, and you gotta try and escape all 300 of them through that way. There are also, like, hidden ones, and there are more complex puzzles, which I will be able to show you later on. But yeah, my first major gripe with New and Tasty is the graphical style. The graphical style is not entirely accurate to the original. The original Abe's Oddysee, the Rupture Farms portion at least, was dark, gritty, dirty, and just overall a very unpleasant place to be. This, everything that lets out light is lit up like a fucking Christmas tree, and I hate it. Apparently the console version was even worse. Like, they... Yeah, we can actually order around everyone, which is actually a pretty big improvement over the original one, but anyway.
Follow me. Okay.
Alright, in you all go. The graphical style is just... Everything's lit up like a Christmas tree, and apparently the original version was even worse. Like the original, like, console version that they released, the New and Tasty. And it's just a little bit disappointing, honestly, because I remember Rupture Farms being a hell of a lot darker than this. It's just... somewhat unfortunate. Bye-bye. Yeah, there are little traps and things like that. It's kind of amusing. Yeah, it's just disappointing, honestly. Like, I don't like it. I wish it was dirty like the original one was. Like, what am I thinking of? There are some areas that don't look terrible, like the... later on when you come into the nature part of the game, and those don't look too bad, but at the same time it's just I'm just really not that big of a fan of it, honestly. I wish they had held truer to the original style. It's just, I'm just a little bit disappointed. Audio quality seems fine though, for the most part. They did have to re-record some of the voices, obviously, because there was some very old recordings. But anyway, it's not actually that bad. It's a little bit, like, you know, old and tired, because I believe this guy hadn't done the voice for like 10 years before the remake came along, so I can understand why it's a little bit old and tired, but yeah, it's... Oh yeah, by the way, if I fall down this... God damn it. If I fall down this... It's actually a secret area. There are a bunch of secret areas, and if you don't rescue all your friends, they all die. So you have to try and look around for all the secret areas, which is kind of annoying, but... Yeah. Also, notably, the game is actually extremely buggy. Which is really disappointing. On so many levels. Like, you have no idea how buggy this game can get. Ow. Oh my god. Why? That was pretty bad. But yeah, this game's actually pretty buggy. Like, on a later part of the Rupture Farms bit, the game has the weird problem of falling through a specific elevator. I had to get into an elevator 4 times before I could get through it without it, not only, without the elevator, I'm invisible here by the way, with the elevator not only, like, making me fall through the floor, but I also had to bloody, what's the word I'm looking for? Ow. So yeah, I let him dock and die, so unfortunately. I'm gonna just keep doing this because, yeah, I'm not gonna waste too much time trying to get a perfect score, but nevertheless. So I'm actually got bombs here that I can throw now, so I can just wait, and now. I just blew up 2 of my friends, not good. And I just blew myself half to shit. But yeah, there are parts of this game which are just, like, fucking weird. Especially when it comes to, yeah, just, like, falling through elevators. And they're falling through floors in general, actually. Because there's another part of Rupture Farms where you have to walk over these floors that are constantly opening and closing. And if you don't get it exactly right, you do die. And unfortunately, the timing that is very strict, because you end up falling through the floor. Excuse me. You end up falling through the floor if you're not careful. It's just, the game is just, like, surprisingly buggy in so many ways. It's just infuriating sometimes. But yeah, now we can just get everybody to follow me. Come on, down you guys come. There we go. And we'll send them all out the door, and then we'll continue on our merry way. And this is the majority of the game. The game's environments do change up a bit. You do go out into nature from time to time, then you come back into Rupture Farms at points. And there's just more bonus stages that come back into Rupture Farms while you're out in nature and stuff like that. But at the same time, it is just like a puzzle platformer. This is the basic gameplay loop. Find Madokans, try and save them, otherwise make your way through the increasingly difficult survival challenges. And that's fine. It's fun. It just doesn't feel as special as it did. I mean, then again, I do probably have nostalgia goggles for what is it, like a 17-year-old game at this point that I never even finished. So, I can understand why people might think I'm just nostalgia-gasming too hard, but the gameplay here is perfectly good, and if you wanted an introduction to New and Tasty that wasn't a complete, like, misanthropic adventure like the original Abe's Oddysee was, this might be the best place to start. It's just, I don't know what it is. It's just something about this version of the game that makes me not enjoy it as much as I do the original game. Whether it be like the graphical style that makes it look like everything's lit up like a goddamn Christmas tree. Oh, by the way, watch this. Hit the pause button. Oh, it doesn't happen here. There are some backgrounds in the game where it's like, where it'll just, everything will just disappear if you hit the start button. It's weird. But Yeah, it's just something about this version of the game just makes me not like it as much as the original Abe's Oddysee. It's a little disappointing, honestly. I don't know what it is about this version of the game precisely. It's just, I guess the graphical style and the general overall, like, what's the word I'm looking for? The general overall just presentation of it just makes me feel more nostalgic for the original version than it does make me want to play this new version. And as you can tell, the performance in this version is actually pretty bad. Like, the game's frame rate is one to drop into the low 20s at times, even the high double digits, like 15 to 20. It's just, the performance is not great, not by any means. Also, I've noticed that the game's got some weird bugs in relation to, like, enemy positioning and stuff like that, but not that big of a deal.
Follow me. Okay. Stop. Okay, got it.
I did also notice that, like, yeah, I am nostalgic-gasming a bit over the original Abe's Oddysee because I did love that game even though I never finished it.
Follow me.
And you can actually buy the original version of Abe's Oddysee on the Vita for like $5 compared to this, which is like, I actually don't know how much this is now that I think about it, but,
Bye.
you know, it's still not a bad game, not by any means. It's just a little bit disappointing in many ways to me personally. Ow. I just loved it. He just wandered his way over there, right into my exploded body. But I just can't help but be disappointed with it because being a massive fan of Oddworld, it's just to have such a brightly overblown visual design on it, and just weird bugs showing up everywhere just makes me extremely disappointed in the game, honestly. And there is a video on this entire topic by the absolutely fantastic YouTuber named Matthew Matosis that compares the two games in minute detail, and while I find he goes a tiny bit too far into the realm of, like, having things be acceptable or not, at the same time, it's a really good essay on what the game is like. And I'm just not too big of a fan of the way this game does the graphical style and the fact that it's actually really buggy. And I thought they would have had time to fix those bugs considering how long this port's been in development, but oh well. Right. I know how to save this guy. Alright, let's see. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull this lever.
Everybody. Hello.
Now I get him to follow me.
Follow me. Okay.
Get in there. And to be fair, I am being a little bit harsh on it because as a game and as a remastering of the game's gameplay, Abe's Oddysee New and Tasty is still a pretty good game outside of the bugs. And if you wanted a version of Abe's Oddysee that isn't, like, extremely misanthropic, then I wouldn't stop to recommend this game anymore. It's just, I would fully personally recommend the other versions, much more fitting of the story, graphical style, and less buggy gameplay, and actually, like, better sound design. Like, this game's sound design is fine, but I just prefer the original games more. I would recommend that version over this one, and this one's like 3 times the price of that one. So, God only knows. Is it gonna fuck up? I just want to know if it's gonna fuck up or not, because this is... No, it's not. But if I go back the other way, it might, so I'll just go back the other way, and if not, I'll just head back to the main menu, because you've probably seen enough. It's a perfectly fine puzzle platformer, except it doesn't run that well, it's got a bunch of bugs, and it just does... And the graphical style just doesn't fit the original at all. That's... And it's perfectly fine if you never played the original, but if you wanted me to give you the better product out of the original game and New and Tasty, I would recommend the original over New and Tasty. But at the same time, New and Tasty does have a legitimate bunch of improvements, especially on the easier difficulties, because there are actually 3 difficulty modes now, such as having a health bar, although that really just does recommend, like, running through, because you'll end up just getting shot to pieces by something anyway if you in a side for too long. Told ya! Told you what happened. And you know what the best part is? I actually have to close the game and open it again now because I don't have access to the menu during this. See? Down I go again. And now I'm just stuck here. This has happened like over 2/3 of the times I've hopped on this elevator going back up. So, yeah. So that was a look at New and Tasty. I don't like the graphics because they're not perfect to the original game. The gameplay is a little bit buggy, as you can tell. But otherwise, it's a perfectly fine puzzle platform. And I do enjoy it. I would just recommend the original over this one any day. In my personal opinion. But if you're willing to give this one a shot, you might as well. I say this as I'm just hanging here because I literally can't do anything else. This has been Blue Maxima. I'm going to go play the original Abe's Oddysee again. I'll see you all next time.